Hello and welcome. I'm here today to give you an update on my ultimate GPS tracker project. What you see here right now is the schematic for the breadboard and the new HW125 you'll see down the bottom right hand corner. Please excuse the bread volt on the left hand side. I'm still learning the SVG software and it's not really talking to Fritzing really well. In any case, I don't know what I'm doing wrong, but I'll figure it out sometime down the road. But for now, this is what I'm going with. Here's the front side of my project again. Still have those two buttons. Haven't removed the second one. And the wires into my HW125. And here's the back side of it. Here is the actual HW125 and its dimensions. Here is the pinouts I'm using and the SPI channel and another way of looking at them. And here's a photo of the connections that I made using DuPont connectors. And you can see that I shrink wrapped the HW125 to protect it from short circuiting on other devices. I believe I'm going to keep the DuPont connectors going forward when I finalize the project. Right, so now I'm going to show you the changes, the main changes that I made to main.py on the Pico. That's all I'm going to show you at this point. I'll show the code at another point in time, but right now this is just the changes. And so we want to import the SD card library. I recommend you get the library from the MicroPython GitHub. There's been a lot of work done on it in the last few years, and it's much faster than the older versions. In any case, that's what I recommend. Here's I'm setting up the SPI object, and then I initialize it just to ensure the proper baud rate. Some people set the baud rate. I saw it was done this way, and it actually works pretty slick. So then I set the SD object using the machine pin and a virtual file system using the operating system to create that as the SD object. Then I mount the use the operating system to mount the file system as /SD. Let me just tell you that I did it. And then this is going to actually give you a listing of what's on the card, if there is anything there. Okay, so then the other change I made down the road is I created a variable for the GPS log because we use it in a couple of places in the program, and I just wanted to keep it easy to maintain. So I create that GPS log variable, and I use that throughout the program. And so then I open up the file as write, which erases it every time. That's the way we're going to keep it. And that nothing else changes there. All I'm doing is creating the variable and then using it to open up this file. All right, and so then the other change is down where we're actually writing the lat long data to the used to be the flash, and now I'm writing to the SD. That's what I'm doing down here. And I've outed the altitude to mine just for grins. I don't know if I'll use it, but in any case, that's where we're at today. So that's my changes to the main.py. That's my main.py. I'll get back to it later. So then I had to create the KML creator file. Since we're reading it, since I have it on a flash card now, I can just remove the flash card, stick it in a flash reader, plug it into my USB port on my computer, and then read it from that. And that's what I'm doing. So I changed it up completely from reading it from the serial. So now I just read it from like a file from a normal thing. So I create the variable where I keep the log. I do some tests on that to make sure it's even there. That said, then I create a directory where I'm going to actually store the log files when I'm done with them, the KML file and the log file. This is just creating a string so that I can keep that easy to maintain down the road if I decide to change that to something. I create a timestamp because I'm timestamping my log file and my KML file using this timestamp, using the F string stuff. I check for the file. If it doesn't exist, then I tell you about it, complain about it. So then this part of it is very similar to, and is exact copy of the way Paul did it in class that one day. And so I just kept that, cut and pasted it. But one thing you'll notice that up here in the path from Pico, we've got these little twiggly things. He doesn't have those. That's okay. So what I'm doing there is I'm actually using a timestamp. I'm putting a timestamp in there when I create the file so that each path from Pico has a unique file name or a unique path name. And that way they're not going to override each other. For me, I want to keep them separate, but other people might not want to. But in any case, that's why I'm doing that. All the rest of this is the same as what he did, although I did put spaces here and here to keep them formatted properly, which you'll see in the output that I will show you later. So then down here, I'm just opening all the files in one fell swoop. I know that's not really safe to do, but in any case, I did it because you can, so why not? So then I write the header, which is up here again, and then read it line by line in like he did before, but now I'm not sending it anything over the serial port, so we're just reading it off the file, so we're just reading it in. And because I'm not doing the /r/n at the end, when I'm creating the data file or the log file, a copy of it, like it in the original program, I don't need to strip out any extra stuff, so I just subtract 1 from that. We don't have the -r -n anymore. So then I just create my, I'm using map. I know he doesn't do that in his programs, but I'm using it for this. Otherwise it's 3 lines. So I just use map. In any case, then I write it out lat long. I'm just making a copy. In my version of it, I'm just making a copy. Then I append to the coordinates array in the order that we're supposed to be for ln, lat, and then the altitude at the end. And then I write that out one by one as I'm reading it in. As I'm reading in that file, I'm creating the coordinates array, and I'm using it here. If I have any problems with it, I tell you about it. I haven't had any problems with it, but if you end up with an empty file for some reason, you will show an error there. In any case, and then at the end, I spit out the other coordinates that come afterwards, and then write out the end of the file, and then tell you that I did, and then spit out the coordinates. When you have a really long one, it won't show them all like down in here. It'll show a white line with a string of them, but you can double click on it and then we'll open it up and show you them all. All right, so that's my KML creator file. And here I show my KML file, the actual output. Well, this one is heavily redacted, but I just wanted to show that it is formatted, how it outputs formatted properly, and also to point out the path from Pico string that I do. I do the timestamp here, and that's what those 2 little squigglies do. Start here to find the MicroPython libraries. You can find the links down in the description. And that's where we stand with the project today, with the SD card installed. And right now I'm just finalizing the main.py and tweaking it here and there. And when I get that completed, the next thing I'm looking to do is to try to figure out a way to permanentize this thing. either I'm going to 3D print an enclosure for it, or trying to find one online that might fit. I'm probably going to use DuPont connectors to connect the Pico and the GPS and the display and the button. Somehow, I don't know if I'm going to keep it battery powered or not at this point. Um, LiPo batteries are great, although I would like to keep the form factor small, and I'd like to keep it in, use it in my car and my bike, my electric bike. And I have a USB ports on both of those things for output. So I'm thinking I'm going to power it via USB, but we'll see. That's where we are. In that case, hope you have a great day and thanks for watching.